seated in groups 1.
Hey guys, I am deep in the heart of Texas. Well, I'm in Texas. I'm in Austin, Texas. I don't know if that counts as being deep in the heart of Texas, but that's where I'm at. And I am here with the lovely X-T20, and on it I have the Rokinon 8mm f2.8 II fisheye. I'm not here because I planned a vacation here or anything. Not that it's not a wonderful city, it's just not the place that I would go if I could go anywhere to photograph stuff. I'm here on business, but whenever I go anywhere on business, I like to give myself a challenge. I'd like to give myself a specific kit that I limit myself to that really makes me stretch creatively. And as many of you know, we moved not too long ago. Before we moved, when we were trying to sell our house, I bought this little 8mm Fuji mount Rokinon because I needed to get some interior shots of our home. I kind of forgot about it until unpacking the other day and thought, you know, maybe I'd give myself a challenge and on this trip to Austin, really just only use this lens. Sort of a challenge, sort of a way to stretch myself creatively. It's tough to shoot really super wide, especially fisheye, when you're traveling and vacation type photography. It's not the ideal focal length, I understand that, but for me it'll be a fun challenge. But I'm also excited to give you a review of this lens while I go about it. So that's what we're going to be using the next couple days of being in this wonderful city. As always, this video is as much about the photography I'm able to capture with this lens as it is about the lens itself. With that in mind, instead of just vomiting up a list of specs, I want to first talk about the experience of shooting with this lens. The Rokinon 8mm 2.8 was designed for APS-C size sensors and is a great addition to any Fuji X kit for that reason. At the 1.5 crop, this lens is a 12mm equivalent, making it the widest lens available for Fuji cameras other than the Lens Baby 5.8mm 3.5 circular fisheye lens. There's nothing about the build quality that feels cheap. Though there's some plastic involved, everything feels solid and hefty. The lens hood is built into the shell for some added protection. Although this is the one lens I'd make sure to keep the lens cover on when not in use. For a more affordable lens, it certainly doesn't seem cheap as far as image quality goes. Although it'll give you much more cooler tones and deeper contrast than typical Fuji lenses, there's nothing alarming about the color straight out of camera. Of course, the corners are not going to be amazingly sharp, especially if you correct the distortion on this guy. And you will get some vignetting and chromatic aberration. But all in all, the corner sharpness, the vignetting, and the chromatic aberration wasn't as bad as I expected it to be. In the world of art, creative constraints can actually be freeing. It can free your mind from decisions of less importance so that one can focus on specifically the message or the image or whatever that they would like to portray, the emotion. By limiting myself to one lens, I really feel like that helps me grow. It helps me see the world and focus on seeing the world through a certain focal type. Having said that, when you shoot wide at the 12mm focal length, you almost lose that constraint because everything is in focus and everything in front of you is basically in view, and finding the order and all that chaos can be overwhelming. And so in that regard, I don't feel like it's freeing this experience, although a great exercise. Shooting during the day can be fairly straightforward. As long as you're at least f5.6 and nothing is closer than 3.5 feet or so, you can focus infinity and pretty much count on everything to be in focus, and even fairly sharp towards the edges. Many say f8 is the optimal aperture for sharpness from the corners to the middle, though I didn't test this myself. One thing I really like doing is finding an interesting subject and then framing it in these awesome Texas trees. Austin, you have really cool trees here. Alright, well, it's day 2 in Austin. I've had a great day. I haven't done much vlogging, but I've taken a lot of photos. We also went to Star Wars, which was pretty rad. The Last Jedi. I'm not gonna lie, guys, it's almost been stressful, to be honest with you. I don't see with that 180 field of view naturally as a photographer, so it's very difficult. It's hard to capture anything meaningful. I'm struggling, but I feel like it's good. It's good practice. But there are some aspects of it that I like. I feel like you can be sort of abstract where you wouldn't normally be abstract with things, and that's been fun. You can shape the horizon and shape your surroundings in ways that you would never expect to see them, kind of Inception style. And that's fun. It's fun to try to see the world that way. The other thing I like is that you can be pretty candid when you're getting shots of people milling about, walking by you. This lens shoots so wide that you can appear to be shooting at something far to the side of someone and still have them well within the frame, leaving them none the wiser. It's great for stealth street photography. You don't have to shove a camera in people's face, which I really hate, but you can still capture people in action. You can still capture life, interesting characters and beauty, and not have to get up at anyone's grill, which I really hate that aspect of street photography. The one gotcha with this lens and Fuji camera body combination is that even though it appears as if everything is in focus when looking at the back of the camera, when shooting wide open in low light, for instance, focus peaking can't always be trusted. You really have to use the distance scale on the camera to dial things in. As far as negatives go, the 2 last things I'll say about this lens is that the focus pull is extremely stiff. Sometimes I like reaching over with one finger to adjust a focus a bit when I'm shooting one-handed, but this lens is too stiff for that. Additionally, with a manual focus lens like this, it's always nice to have the depth of field markings. Vintage lenses, for instance, usually have the depth of field range right next to the focus scale markings. This is nice to have, especially when shooting in low light and at close distances, but the Rokinon doesn't give you these markings. So while it's not a perfect lens, it's certainly worth the price tag as a specialty lens, and it can be a lot of fun to shoot with. I've now dropped by the hotel to get a little bit of some R&R until it gets dark. My plan is to head back out after dark, head to 6th Street where the party is, try to get some of that Austin nightlife. I'm done with that. Austin, it's a great city and you're very friendly, but I got tired of people talking to me. Every bar you walk by, they try to get you to go in.
Or 850 restaurants.
Every other person is a panhandler trying to get money from you. And there were all these like startup app people trying to get you to sign up for stuff. You cannot walk a block on 6th Street on the weekend and not be stopped multiple times, and that's just way too much human interaction for me, so I didn't last very long. I'm gonna go to bed right now and try to forget that experience ever happened, and then tomorrow I'm going to look for some quiet places to get some more photography. Night. This is the famous Bat Bridge. They're all sleeping. Started to rain, and I'm not really feeling it this morning anyway, to be honest with you. So I'm gonna head to the airport a little bit early and bid a fond farewell to you, Austin.